hope everyone got a chance to read in this morning's Washington Post. And she wrote how Western media would cover the U.S. election if it happened in another country. I'm just going to read a little bit of it. The United States, the former British colony, already rocked this year by ethnic conflict and mass protests over extrajudicial killings by police, may finally have a new leader after weeks of political turmoil following a disputed presidential election. Trump, however, is refusing to leave power, and there are fears that the fractured nation might be pushed over the edge, destabilizing the Western Hemisphere. That is how it would sound if we were covering an election in a foreign country, but now we are that country. What do you make of this dissent?
Well, obviously, what Donald Trump is engaged in is the type of behavior that we've seen in many authoritarian countries around the globe, where individuals try to retain power by all means necessary. And Donald Trump, I think, has demonstrated time and time again that he's not going to adhere to not only the norms and standards that are expected in the office of the presidency, but also the requirements that really have the United States national security hang in the balance. The fact that he's acting as a spoiled juvenile, and that's an insult to spoiled juveniles, quite frankly, that he is not facilitating the transfer of power of the executive branch to Joe Biden and his incoming administration, I think is outrageous. Because whether we're dealing with COVID or whether we're dealing with international issues, that transition, which has been honored by every president, certainly during my career, and has allowed the incoming administration to be able to get up to speed quickly on these very, very challenging issues, this is something that must happen. And the fact that the members of the Republican Party are still allowing Donald Trump to continue with this tantrum, I think, is despicable.
Yeah, and you know, Patrick, you and I share both family connections to the Congo and connections via family to South Africa, where, of course, you were ambassador. You know, and I've been saying to my team a lot that, you know, what Donald Trump is doing is Mobutuism, right? It is something that we saw with the Nationalist Party in South Africa from the 1940s until they were finally toppled and Nelson Mandela became president and was released from prison in 1990. I mean, this is what we've seen in these other countries, and yet we are the kind of country that maybe the Carter Center needed to oversee our election.
Joy, thanks for having me on. You know, I served with John Brennan, and he does not get that heated about anything in public. He keeps his cool. So it gives you a sense of the extent of the crisis that we find ourselves in right now. You're absolutely right. This is the kind of behavior that we see from authoritarians in places and instances that we condemn. The Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, recently put out statements of concerns about violence and clashes following the elections in Belarus and in Tanzania. 2 years ago, the Trump administration was making all kinds of declarations about the corruption, the fraud, and the challenges in transition of power in the DRC. So you're right that traditionally the United States is the broker of election integrity in places all around the world, and it's astonishing to see this being played out here in the U.S. But I have to say, Joy, there isn't a single thing that Donald Trump is doing right now that any of us could not have anticipated. Those of us who invested in planning scenarios about this expected this. The problem isn't Donald Trump. The problem is the Republican leadership in the Senate, in the House, in states where they have authority over election outcomes. They're not doing what some extraordinary secretaries of state are doing, calling out the lies, calling out the damage and the danger to democracy, and educating their constituents and voters about what this does to our norms in the future. Incredibly dangerous.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.